Hi, this is Rich Lavens of Watlow, and today we're going to be working with the Eurotherm 6100 series recorder, and I'm going to do a tutorial on how to set up a counter with a digital input. So what I've got here is a firmware or a software called Eurotherm Bridge. Bridge Full allows me to get into the recorder, but the button pushes I'm going to do on the screen here mimic exactly the button pushes you would do on the touch screen of the instrument itself. So up here, I've got this set up. You'll notice I've got channel 1 as a temperature input. Channel 2 here is my digital input status. So it's going to tell me if I've got a contact closure or a digital input present or not. And then the last one is the counter. So to set this up, first we're going to log in as engineer. So up here in the upper left, we're going to click on the logged out button, and we are going to log in as engineer. So I logged in using my password. I'm sure your password will be different. And if I look in the upper left now, I'm logged in as engineer. Down at the bottom here in the lower right-hand corner, you'll see 5 little cubes. We're going to click there, and we're going to click on operator. And you're going to have 5 selections. You're going to have 6 selections here, but we want to go into the config. So first thing I want to do is go to options. In options, you'll see something called virtual channels. This is a paid upgrade. So I have 12 enabled. I can go up to 36 or more depending on the instrument. And the virtual channels can be set up as math, totalizer, or counter channels. So in my case, I want to set up a counter. Now I can set up as many as the virtual channels allow me to, but in my case, I use 2. And I also have a math channel enabled for something else. So make sure you have that. If you don't have the MTC, math, totalizers, counters enabled, you'll have to get a hold of your distributor or your account manager and tell them you need to upgrade your virtual channels. But in my case, they're here, so I am going to come back. And now that I'm assured they're enabled, I want to go to my channels. So channel 1 is my temperature sensor input. And again, that's a different video, but we're going to concentrate on channel 2, which is my digital input. So one thing to be aware of, so if you'll notice down here at the bottom, digital inputs cannot be on the first channel of any cards. So in this case, channel 1 on the first card, channel 7 on the second input card, and so forth. Now, I'm using a contact closure input. So it's this right here. If you'll notice, my wires go to V- and I, and then the contact closure happens across those 2 terminals. If I'm using a voltage input, there's the voltage limitations up here, it wires exactly the same. So just be aware that if you try to wire to channel 1, it's not going to work. Channel 7, it's not going to work. So really, any channel but the first one on those cards. So we'll come back up here. So that is why I'm wired up to digital 2. So this value is going to tell you if you have a contact closure present or not. Right now, this shows I've got it present. So if I disconnect my input, you can see that now that wire is now open. And I'll reconnect again. And it goes back to the closed state. So it's a digital input. That's right here. In my case, a digital input is linear. It's either on or it's off. So that's the scale type. The descriptor, you can put in anything that you want here. I'm calling it digital input status, and that is reflected up here. So if I change it on my descriptor, it's also going to change what it's called up here. A/B switching in this case doesn't really matter. Again, this is a binary thing, so it's present or it's not. You would change your scale high. Normally that would be 0 to 100. Now, once I make a change, if I see this yellow background, I have to go in and apply that setting. Now you can do it one at a time, or you can make all your changes and hit apply at the end. So in my case, here's the color. Maybe I don't like the green or the blue. I can pick any color I want. So we'll just go to number 25, which is kind of an orange. I'm going to hit OK. So that is the input setup, but we want that input to do something. So in this case, we would come in and we would want to, I think by default, that alarm is off. We want to enable the alarm. Now, the way I look at it, this is not an alarm. It's more of a trigger to do something. So I selected trigger, and the type is digital. Now here, you can get the normally closed or the normally open to activate. So in my case, I want the normally closed to increment the counter. The dwell, so in my case, I don't know where that digital contact closure is coming from. It could be a switch. Well, mechanical switches have something called switch bounce. So like on a light switch in your house, when you flip that, momentarily inside that switch, it causes a little flicker. The contacts bounce as they make contact and come back off each other. You never see it with a light, but this thing's fast enough that switch bounce could actually increment the counter by mistake. So in my case, I want to make sure that that signal's present for at least 1 second. So that kind of eliminates my switch bounce. The job number, again, I can have up to 4, but my first job is to look at a counter and increment the count on counter number 1 when that is active. So that is how I set up the digital input to increment the counter. I'm going to apply my changes. You can see the progress bar in the upper right. So that yellow background disappeared, so I'm good there. Now I want to come up here to my configuration, and I'm going to come down to the counter. So here's my counter. There's counter number 1. Again, in the options, you would tell it how many counters you want, and then you could choose. If you recall, I chose 2 counters. So counter number 1, I want to enable it. Now the value is the count. So in my case, I have cycled my input 5 times and it's incremented 5 hours. You can put those units to whatever you want. So in my case, we're going to call that units. Now the preset. So right now I have 5 sitting in this counter. When I hit preset, it's going to go back to whatever number you put in the preset piece. So I'm going to preset it. You'll see my value goes back to 0. Here's my counter. So I'm just going to call this part counter. So this would be how you want the units displayed. So maybe you're going to run 1,000 parts a day or 100 parts a day. So again, what do you want the high and low to be? So in our case, we're going to say we're going to run 100 parts a day. And I want to count up to that 100 parts. So 0 to 100 parts, that's my full scale. So I leave that 0 to 100. My scale is linear. My divisions, I want 5 major divisions and 1 minor division. And what do I want that color to be on my parts counter? So we'll just make that, make it this kind of green here, just so we can distinguish it. So then on my parts counter, maybe when I hit 50 parts, I want to trigger a relay. So I could come in, turn that on as a trigger, and then I could set up the trigger to increment a relay when I hit, in this case, 50 parts. And if you don't want to set up a trigger or an alarm, you just want the visual, you can just come in and shut that off. So I have now set up my counter. So I'm going to apply that. And you can see it's now accepted it. So now my counter is called the part counter. My units are units. So once I hit the apply, some of those go back in and change based on the descriptor and the units you put in there. So the last thing I need to do is, if I go back to my main display, I've got a channel counter. I've got the status, whether it's open or closed. I need to add the part counter. I may not even want to add the digital input status. That's just something I added so I know if an input's present or not. So let's go back down here to operator. We'll go to config, go into groups. So now group 1 is what I want to display that parts counter on. So the chart speed and all that, that's set up. That's another video, but I just simply want to add the counter. So we're going to scroll down a little bit. You can see I've got channel 1 enabled. I've got my digital input status enabled. The last thing I need to remember to do is enable the part counter so it shows up on that display, which I've already done. We're going to hit apply. I've already done it. So let's go back home now. So here we are. There's my temperature, my digital input status, and my parts counter. The parts counter won't increment until it sees a change come in on the digital input. So let's disconnect my input. So you can see that now I do not have a line. It's an open connector. I'm going to reconnect it. And after 1 second, which was the dwell I put in, you'll see my parts counter just incremented. So let's do it again. I'll do it a few times here. The switch is now open. The switch is now closed. After a second, it increments to 2. The switch is now open. The switch is now closed. It increments to 3. And I'll do it one more time. And finally increments to 4. So once this rolls down, you'll see that the digital input is incrementing. Now, it's not showing up here. Again, it's over here. And depending on the speed that you have your recorder set to roll down, you'll see that sooner or later. I want to show you this, though, too. So if I hit these hamburger menus here, I've got an option menu. So let me go to a different view. I got a round chart. Here's the visual. 70 degrees, my switch, my units. This is all the same information displayed different ways. When I go to my vertical trend chart, though, I can hit this hamburger menu and I can enter what we call faceplates. So right now, I don't see the live display numerically, and I'm looking at channel 1. It's in red. That's scaled 0 to 100. If I hit the bar, I go to my digital input status. Again, that's a make or break. So it's a 1 or a 0. And then I go to my part counter, and that's where that 0 to 100 units I put in there comes into play. If I want to see the numeric on a vertical chart, I can enter the faceplates, click it again, and now it displays the chart along with some numeric information. Last thing we need to remember is before we're done here, I want to come in and hit the engineer and go back out or log out. That puts the recorder kind of in a normal mode, and you should be off and running. I hope you find this video helpful, but please reach out to us and let us know. Thank you so much. Bye.